Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the Halo Forge Epidemic. Here we are continuing our series of tutorials on how to set up all the different game modes in Halo 4. And this is going to be a big one. This is Dominion, which is a new game mode. It's really exciting, really cool. It's a lot like Big Team Battle, but with a lot of new added elements, some of which are a bit reminiscent of Invasion from Halo Reach. And it's a very new game mode, so a lot does go into it as far as setting the game mode up. But I think I'll be able to show you guys in a way that's not too difficult to understand, and hopefully you'll be making your own Dominion maps before you know it. So we're just going to dive into Forge here, and I'll show you guys how to do it. Okay guys, so here I'm going to be showing you guys how to set up Dominion on your map. We are here on Exile, and I'm just going to be running you guys through how to set up Dominion. So there's a lot of cool things you can do here. First of all, the teams are going to spawn not at their normal bases, at least in this case. So, you may want to actually have your own separate initial spawns. So this would be blue team's initial spawn just for Dominion. You can see it's game specific true, labeled Dominion. And of course, this is in the Dominion Forge mode variant. Now, something else you can do that's really cool is you see this tank here, and this is here in normal game modes, but if you'll see, it is actually not here in Dominion. You have this no Dominion label. So that'll actually make, objects or vehicles or weapons or whatever not show up in Dominion, and of course it looks like you can do something similar for extraction. So that's really cool. But anyways, here I'm going to go show you guys pretty much how to set up a base. So there's a lot of components that go into this, and it is a little bit on the complex side. It's if anything, even more complex than setting up, say, Invasion and Halo Reach was, but you guys should be able to get the hang of it. So, the first part that goes into setting up the base is this guy, the base terminal. So basically, you're going to want to set it to game-specific true, Dominion base, and then you use the spawn sequence, in this case 3, this is Charlie base. So, and then you're going to want to cover basically the area of the base with its, shape, whatever you'd want to call that. So then, next, basically, you'll have, again, there's all these different things that go into this. So you'll want to have these hill markers. Also, everything attached to this base is going to be spawn sequence 3. So, that's what keeps it all together. So this is a Dominion base zone. And game specific true, spawn sequence 3, Dominion base zone, and what you'll see is that basically the entire base, like all the square feet within the base, are covered in these zones. So you want to do that kind of to define the boundaries of the base, and so it's just all over the place. So that's pretty simple. You just use hill markers for that, game specific true, and Dominion base zone again. So then you'll have all these other things. So first of all, you're going to have these ordnance drops, these objective drops, which I touched on briefly in the ordnance video. So you'll have Charlie resupply. You pick your weapons here, and you can have, I guess, however many of these you want. In this case, and this seems to be pretty standard, they have just 2 in the base. So and then it'll pick between whichever weapons. So yeah, so you get all that. And then the next thing you're going to want to look at is fortifications of different types. So first of all, you get these base shields. These are all Dominion objects. So, you would have it labeled Dominion shield, of course, game specific true, spawn sequence of your base yet again. And of course, it's really hard to fly through those. So, and then you'll want to do the same thing for, you can have Dominion vehicle pad, and you can do these for pretty much any vehicle. You can have it for a Wraith, spawn sequence 3 yet again, game specific true, Dominion VPAD is the label for those, and you'll see there's one of these for a Ghost, pretty straightforward. And then also there's going to be turrets, which you'll want to have set up around your base most likely, and again, Dominion turret, pretty straightforward, game specific true, spawn label again. And then you have the last main thing that goes into it is the Dominion fortifications. So you'll have these different objects that'll say Dominion Fortify for the label, and game specific true, spawn sequence 3, again, depending on whichever base you're talking about. So and then it's the same thing for these. So these will actually like unfold and become barricades, which is really cool, and you can do that with all these different Dominion objects, and it's really cool. It adds a lot to the game mode, so that's really cool. And then other than that, you're basically going to want to have, of course you'll want your spawn points around your base, and then you will have a spawn zone, respawn zone, with the spawn sequence of that base, game specific true, and then the Dominion respawn zone. So if you look at that, that's going to say basically, if your team owns base 3, the base of that label, then you can spawn in this area in and around base 3. So, again, pretty straightforward there. So then, you can keep working with these, like, no Dominion labels. So both of these Warthogs won't be there in Dominion, but then this one is specific to Dominion. You just have the Dominion label, game-specific true, and this doesn't actually spawn on a vehicle pad. But, of course, if you wanted to, you could go into vehicle pad, Warthog, and, do that. And then you would just say game specific true, you would attach it to base 3 with the spawn sequence, and you would go over to Dominion VPad. So it's pretty straightforward. It's it'll take a little bit of getting used to, but it shouldn't be too difficult, and I hope this helps you guys set up Dominion. It's a really cool game mode, and it should be really fun to use and to forge. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. This has been PsychoDuck with the Halo Forge Epidemic, and I hope you guys enjoy setting up Dominion on your map. Feel free to ask any questions in here or in the comments section on the 343 Industries community forum, where we will have these tutorials posted, and then we can get some discussion in there. So anyways, thanks again for watching. Feel free to subscribe if you're new to our channel. We just feature forged maps, community creations, custom games, and do forged tutorials and such. So anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.